Good morning. I think it's too bright here with this light, but I can't change it. Now, I'm up in the middle of the night. Are you? Nobody's up yet. Hello, it's Nancy today. And how are you today? That's my angelic halo. That's what it is. We'll just go with it. You know, I labeled this can't sleep, but really, I don't feel like sleeping. I'd rather do other stuff like I have this book. Anyway, I guess I should say it aloud in case anybody is doing the dishes while they listen. So it's Stokes Nature Guides, a guide to animal tracking and behavior by Donald and Lillian Stokes. I highly recommend it. There's another book that I highly recommend, which I can't find. Story of my life. It's called Animal Tracks of Ontario. Oh, good morning. You're here too. Anyway, so this book I like. I was going to look up these different tracks I've been seeing. And then talk to you about it. But you know, I don't feel like I should just look away and start reading. That's not very polite. Anyway, so I'm in the family room. This is the family room. Did you get a glimpse? Who's this? Keto. Who's Keto? Hi, I'm Nancy. Pleased to meet you. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. I did. Here we go. We're back. So, okay. So was I crooked before? Anyway, hi Kato. So is it the middle of the night there? It is 3 something here. I will look. Oh, you've been watching. Oh, good to know that. It's 3:30. I was crooked. It's 4:42. Okay, so then you are it's 3:42. So you must be, let's see where that would put you. It have to be Newfoundland, but that's half an hour difference. Unless it's none of it. Or Newfoundland. Are you in Newfoundland? Where would that be? Iceland, Newfoundland, nothing else. Oh, Cape Breton. Okay, see, I was getting close. I might have thought of it. Maybe. Maybe not. You live in Cape Breton. Is that cool? Like, do you love Celtic music? Do you have kitchen parties? Everybody brings out their fiddle. Hey, I decided I would start playing my violin in my tent outside. Because I thought, this is really cool. I can take you outside because I have this laptop. But, so do you go to kitchen parties, eh? And do you play an instrument? Trouble with these things is that you can't talk back. FaceTime was actually better. But then, you know, I don't know. Hi, Helen. You can't sleep either. Oh, this is nice. And so, Helen, wait a minute. I thought you were in England. Scotland. Where are you, Helen? Where in the world are you? Well, Keto is here. She's from, I'm assuming it's a she. She's from Cape Breton. Oh, 3 people. You know, just a lot more people see you at 3 in the morning. Look at this. Like, I would talk for half. Oh, look, I already got a thumbs up. Thank you, girls. Anyway, if I come on here in afternoon or just different times, you know, sometimes there's nobody around for a long time. It doesn't really matter because, well, I like it when I talk to you guys. But I don't advertise it because I cannot figure out the future. There, that's better. There, oh, if I get it, the book's behind. Things look pretty bad here sometimes. It used to be a real big mess all the time, and then we had the great clean, the great purge, and it got a lot easier. And it was so pretty because the house was all new and new kitchen, and I would mess up and let it didn't get bad, but oh wait, someone has spoken. Cato. A lot of the time during the day people are busy, but in the middle, oh no, it's gone. Oh, I can get it back. A lot of time during the day people are busy, but in the middle of the night when people can't sleep, they get to watch more stuff. Hey, that's a cool idea. I was a little concerned because now I can't get rid of the words. I'll tap on the words thing. Nope. I'll tap beside it. You can't see me tapping, can you? Hey, it's gone now. I don't know why. It wasn't gone right away. How many people are here? 3 people. Oh, one checked in, thought, well, that's not really fascinating. I better get some sleep. Anyway, so what was your day like? What'd you do yesterday? Or what are you going to do today? I'm trying to turn this collar down because it's so important. Sometimes I like just talking. Sometimes, oh, you made yogurt keto in your Instant Pot. How did it work out? And can you tell me what you did? I suppose there's a recipe with the booklet, isn't there? A recipe with the pot. I brought mine home, and immediately Desmond read the front of it, and he said, oh, yogurt. Or he said, yog, whatever. I'm actually making videos to upload. Oh, wow, making a video to upload. I should watch a video. I should watch your video. I don't really do that. I have such little time in my life. There's so much I need to do. I'm not in any forced pressure to do. I get into a routine where this part of the day, I thought you were in Scotland. But wait a minute, you said you couldn't sleep. Let me go back. Oh, look, I can see everything that anybody has ever written. Yeah, you can't sleep at well at 8:30 in the morning. So, Cato, I have a few. It's mostly cooking and stuff. Wait a minute, what's mostly cooking? Oh, videos. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you touch it in the middle? No. How do you make it go away? If I move my hand, it'll go away. Look at that, then it fades. I just whisk it away with my hand. That's the way to do it. So I'm amazed I'm able to talk. I have this postnasal drip, and I tell you, I'm gagging and gagging and gagging. Which brings me to the point that yesterday I gagged really overly much, and now I hear Desmond upstairs is sick. And I'm wondering if actually I was sick. Have you ever tried a neti pot? That's an interesting idea. Like use salt water and you take it in through your nose. I used to do that. I used to fill my hand with water and then just tip my head back and let it go in my nose and then open your throat up so that it would drip down the back. That's a really good idea. I think I'll try that. Thank you. Oh, somebody else went back to bed. You're in your kitchen putting sausages in and vegetables in your crock pot. Scotland in a small fishing village. So a small fishing village. That's really interesting. Can you tell us more? I'm interested in different places. You know, I was a travel writer, right? I never got to Scotland. I never really had any interest in Scotland or England. I don't know why. I guess I hear that it's extremely expensive. It's very crowded and the roads are very, very slow. And everything is very, very old. Hundreds of years old. And now there are people from all over the world there, so the accents in various places are probably different. Oh, I didn't know you were a travel writer. Have you ever been to Cape Breton? No, but I went to Nova Scotia. I went to Lunenburg and then around. We flew into Halifax and we drove down, and we drove all the way around to the top, and then we flew out of Halifax. But we only did that side. What is that? The Cabot Trail? The Acadian. Is the rest of the island Acadian as well? For those of you that don't know much about Canadian history, every time Europe and every time France and England fought, which was a lot, every time they fought, whoever won got the colonies. We were the colonies, of course. And so the French won, and then England won. And so when England came up to, they went to Nova Scotia, and there were all these French people there, and they told them they had to pledge allegiance to the English flag, or they were going to be kicked out. And they said, no, we don't want to pledge allegiance to the English flag, but we won't fight against you. And that wasn't very good enough for the English. And so they had this gathering. They called all the men together to the church. And while the men were at the church, they rounded up all the women and children. This is my understanding. I might be wrong. I think I'm getting a little off perfectly truthful here. So I'm not sure what this is. But anyway, it's my understanding that women and children were put on boats. Men were put on boats. They were not worried about who was in what family. Everybody was mixed up on all these boats. First, they got rid of, I think they kept the men inside so they could get rid of the women. I mean, that's the logical thing to do. But part of me thinks that they put the men in there and then they got rid of the men on boats. That'd be pretty hard to do. How do you round up a boat? I guess with your muskets, you can make people do things. Anyway, I would think that all these men are big enough that they can overpower whoever's trying to push them all into boats. But if you've got the English army there. Anyway, oh, you haven't slept all night? Oh no, why didn't you sleep all night? No wonder. The Acadian Trail. And so, no, how do I get... Oh, it'll fade away if you just leave it alone. Dear, oh dear. Hi, 6 people can't sleep. Hey, 2 thumbs up. If you can thumbs up, do it. I mean, like and subscribe. Oh, and that little notification thing. If you want to be told when I happen to be, my life brings me to a point where I feel like pushing the go live button, then you'll know. Okay, so wait a minute. We were talking about something. Oh, the Acadian Trail. Okay, so these people then went south down along the coast, and they landed in the Caribbean, and they went around Florida and landed in New Orleans. So that's why you have in New Orleans and in Louisiana, you have all the French, and it's Cajun cooking, right? Acadian, Cajun, get the similarity? And also, all the people that went to the islands, like Haiti and, well, I don't know Haiti because Haiti is all black, isn't it? These were French and they were white. As far as I know. Anyway, but the Haitians, maybe they got there because of the Dutch East Indies Company. The Dutch East Indies Company would round up, or they would buy blacks from Africa, so the Africans would sell each other out. They would capture people and sell them into slave market to the Dutch East Indies Company, who would come and take them away by the hundreds and take them to the islands after this long trip, being chained up, laying on an angle like that, with no inches to spare between your next person. You're on a slatted thing and they're naked. Terrible thing. Anyway, they're in these things down below in the bottom of the ship. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, so when they get there, they're not in very good health. They've got diseases. They're very skinny. And so they take them to the islands. Let's see. Curacao is on the coast of Venezuela. That's an island that they went to. They have the Museum of the History of the Slavery Trade. I don't remember what it was. I'm about to cough. I feel that post-nasal drip happening. So I'm going to... Can I mute you for a minute and then do my nose? You know. Here, I'll turn it over here. I'll put you over there. There. Did you hear that, or did I make it miss? I tried to put the phone down on the bottom. See, now I'm not going to cough. But I probably should take one of these terrible hauls. No, it's not in my chair. Oh, no, that means I'll have to move. Just moving is difficult. You know what I wanted to do when I woke up in the middle of the night? Oh, did I finish telling you enough about that story? So now you know what the Acadians are. You know they are there why they're there in Louisiana. Fisherman friends. Yes, I have. I usually use honey and lemon juice. But the other day I mixed equal parts of honey and lemon, but I must have mixed too much lemon. And I thought, to heck with this. It was like drinking it. So I thought, why not just have peanut butter and honey? And so I just ate peanut butter and honey all evening. That was probably 4,000 calories. So much for food today. Oh, yeah, I want to hear about your fishing village. Oh, here we go. So, Helen, I don't know why you haven't slept all night. I hope you don't have a lot to do today. Or maybe you like to stay up all day and all night. They eventually went down the coast and settled in the south and became the Cajuns. Well, you said it so clearly and succinctly, not in 1,000 words like me. Bertus Simons. Hello. Bertisue. I don't know what that name means. Is it a male or female name? Birdie. I think it's going to be a female name. S-U-E. Is that French? Beritsui? I can't pronounce it. Hi, Nancy. I've watched your channel since your beginning. Really? And this is the first time I'm looking at your name? That might not be true. If I went back through comments, we've lost a lot of comments. People used to put comments on your channel, and I used to love those comments because they were all compliments, and who gets tired of being complimented? It's a nickname, Biddy Sue. Biddy Sue, so that's a female name too. I'm a little confused. Oh, Birdie Sue. Okay, let's go back here. Well, Birdie Sue. Oh, I see. Birdie Sue. That's what it is. I'm a little slow on the uptake. Okay, Helen lives in a house that's over 200 years old, 3 stories tall. What is it about that it's not appealing to me? Like, I lived in a house, and the house before we moved here, we lived there for 5 years. We had left Ottawa, and we drew a commuting circle around Ottawa, and then we looked for where we could go to church, and so that's where we moved. And so then we lived there for 5 years, and it was really hard to go to the woods. That's one thing that bothered me when I was there. I really wanted to go to the woods, so I would go to the train station. I had 3 little children. I would take them to the train station. That was my dryer, my washing machine. My daughter decided that in Germany they have these washer dryers that this is a non-vented dryer. So it dries it after it washes it, it dries it. Okay, but it's yummy, so worth it. Okay, so Fisherman's Friends lozenges, because I said earlier about using Halls, and I'm only using Halls because I was desperate. I couldn't sleep, I was gagging, and I couldn't stand coughing anymore, and my body was just having a hard time. I'm gonna cough again. Okay, now where were we talking about? I love having these comments. This is so much fun. I get to know you guys. I mean, in as much as I can get to know somebody. Now, wait a minute. Beartu Simons. Now, you are. Okay, Quito is in Nova Scotia, Cape Breton. Cape Breton has Scottish music. Helen, are you familiar with Nova Scotia? Which means New Scotland. I still have my hearing aid in. It's not my hearing aid, it's Willem's. It's nice to be able to hear things louder. It's kind of an amplifier, really. It's not tuned to me, so it's not static. Okay. So now what were we saying? Okay. So, Birdie Sue, your house is 120 years old, but we don't know where you live. Helen's in Scotland. Quito's in Cape Breton. Have we got anybody else here? And you're out now in Cape Breton. Is it fishing village area, just like Helen is got in Scotland? So Quito, you've been watching a long time, and so has Helen, and so has Birdie Sue. That's really cool. Do you know each other? I think this is the coolest thing about live chats is that you can talk to each other. You can have those pop-out chats, and so you guys can meet each other better. I don't know, the whole thing about the internet. Oh, hi, Grace. The whole thing about the internet is that you can get to know each other, right? And there's good and bad about that, right? But 5 years. Yeah, I thought you've been watching a long time. I love it that you comment, too. Things were steel and coal with a little bit of fishing, but those have all dried up now. There isn't much industry left. Yeah, that's been happening for the last 20 years. You love honey and lemon, too. I'm glad you had to sleep in the afternoon. The only trouble with these live videos is that when you're chatting with just one person, like on MSN, it was so easy to carry on and keep typing. You'd say something and then they would comment and you keep typing and then they comment. However, you're typing and you're changing subjects and they're commenting on that one back there, and sometimes it got pretty confusing. I think it usually got pretty confusing. Yeah, I liked MSN. It was quite nice, but Messenger is what I use. Messenger's the same. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I mean, if I really need to go there, I can always go through Safari, right? But I don't have Facebook on here. Facebook was pretty good for a while, but then I found that every single thing I was looking at had been shared. And I realized that there was just momentum for various things. And I don't know, the manufacture of these items that were getting shared, I mean, some of them take a lot of trouble to make. And like, I don't know, pictures with words on them. And just a bunch of stuff. And it was like, somebody's very busy making these things and then promoting them, and then people are all passing them around. But you never get to meet the person that wrote it, you know? And so it's kind of like just shuffling magazines around the room. And if I wanted to shuffle magazines, I'd go pick the magazines I want to read. Anyway, so that's why I don't go to Facebook. But it's interesting, sometimes if somebody's on Messenger and I forget stuff about them, I'll click on their name and then I'll go down to view Facebook profile. And then I'll go into their Facebook thing and then I can read their profile and I can read their history. And that's pretty useful because sometimes new people show up and they want you to friend them. And I don't trust any of that. See, do I stop talking and respond to the comment, or do I keep talking and then respond later? See, that would be the right thing to do. Keep talking. When I'm finished the paragraph, go and look at the other one. But no, I interrupt myself. I was thinking it must be very hard to listen to me talk because I changed the topic very quickly. My daughter and her husband noticed that as soon as they got back from Germany, that I could not stay on one topic for more than a few minutes. But perhaps it's because of my exceeding intelligence and my mind just goes so fast. There, I like that. You like that? That's a good one. Okay, so now wait a minute. What kind of essential oil did you get? I would love to take you in my sunroom and show you my essential oils. The last time I made soap, maybe it wasn't the very last. I'm very sorry to be sick in your presence. Sometimes I have bags under my eyes. I have these bulges here. I think that's from wearing my mask. It's made it bulge right there. And then I think I have bags under my eyes. Too far away. See, this is right here. Maybe that's the side of my face. Breathe Easy oil. Oh, that's why you mentioned it, because does it make you not want to cough? I have to get up and get these lozenges. Uh-oh, orientation is locked. Well, that means that this is only taking up part of the screen, isn't it? Hey, there's all that for something else. We could split the picture in half and have it confuse everybody and have half over there and half over there. Well, oh, there they are. I found them. Life is good again. Shall we go outside for just a moment? I like going outside. Let me see. I wonder if I should turn on your light. There it is. Okay. Oh, it won't work at the same time as a video. It smells fresh out here. Let's see if I can make the light come on. I can turn it on over here. There. Now you can see what it looks like at 3 a.m. in Canada. Christmas tree. Oh, I could put on my Christmas lights for you. Here, just plug them in. Snowshoes. My snowshoes are my most important outerwear. Because without snowshoes, when it gets deep outside, Oh my gosh, they have these never get the plug-in kind of outlets now. Okay, it's in. Yes. There, look. What do you think? Isn't that pretty? Hey, I wonder if I could take a screenshot. Hold everything. Maybe I want the screenshot on this side. Oh, orientation is locked. Now I have to move over this way. I have to turn that. I'm getting snow on my feet. Okay, now I push both buttons, the round button and the top button. Here we go. Okay. I look gray. Oh, well, you can't do everything perfectly every time. There we go. There's the other Christmas tree. Did you see the balls on it? See, all those up there are little balls. They're not lights. Nancy, I was at the dentist yesterday and found out that at the age of 74, I have a wisdom tooth coming in. Okay, time to go inside. Get the snow off my feet. Sit back in my chair where I belong. Oh, we could leave this open though. And I could open this one now. There we go. Now it's easier to see that the balls on the top half are small balls. I've been stringing them on yeah, you might like this idea. I've been stringing them on a piece of yarn so that I think I put a needle on the end of the yarn. Just a minute, I can't talk near. I have to take this to the other room. Okay, so I'll show you. So I have all these balls. Guess I could turn the light on. And so I thought I'll just take a string and I'll just stick the string through them. And so now that's all on one long rope. And so I could just take the rope and put it around the tree. Isn't that a good idea? Why am I feeling cold air in here? Because I opened the door, maybe? Okay, so I'm gonna lay back in my chair. I'm gonna turn the heater on. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. The heater is on. Now I'll sit back down. Oh, we've got more happening here. Now you can probably see out the window. Well, no, you can't. You know the best laid plans. Maybe I'll have to turn it and go this way. Which is probably a better idea for the heater anyway. Turn off some lights again. No, I can't see that. Maybe you'll be able to see this one. Oh, look at that. We did it. I have to put my head in front of it so you can see the Christmas tree. And oh, this is perfect. Christmas is coming. La, 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 la. In Canada, we have our Thanksgiving in October. So we're ready to start preparing for things for Christmas on the 1st of December or even in November. books let me prepare. I go rush around the last minute. Sometimes I stock things up from the dump throughout the year. I did buy one gift, a razor. Gonna give it to my son if he still has shaved. Okay, so now I was gonna look at what you said. Okay. Can you imagine having a wisdom tooth coming in at 74? My lights are lovely. I love Christmas lights. It's one of my favorite things. You've been here a long time, Cato. I think, isn't that what you said? Grace, great idea. I'm going to try it. What do you mean, stringing the lights on the yarn? That's a good idea. I would not know the bulbs. I know you didn't mean to say Noth, but anyway. You know, when I say things and dictate, I do my journal. I dictate my journal. And so I have to say the periods and everything. Comma, new paragraph, all that. And it never tells me the right thing that I wrote, I told it to say. And so then I realized that if I go to read it, if I read it and just listen to what it sounds like, then I can figure out what it's talking about. If I don't read it aloud, like Noth, maybe it was supposed to be moth, or nothing, or nothing. Anyway, so you never know those things, right? I like my tree. It's not all the way decorated. Needs the lights down there. Oh, not. You see? They added the TH. Does that even mean anything? Oh, well. Sometimes when I type now, I just type in general where the letters are supposed to be. And they're never quite there. So it turns out being these unintelligible things. And if you start with the right letter, it'll correct it right. But if you start with the wrong letter, it has no backup system. What is that called? It can't think for itself to go and do something else. There's no if-then clause in the code. Let me see what you said. Oh, and then when you said not, you didn't mean to say K-N-O-T, you meant N-O-T. See? I would not. Oh, no, you meant not. I would knot the bulbs in place so that they are at equal lengths and don't bunch up. Well, I started doing that. But then I found that was taking me a long time. And so instead, I just slide them along. And because of the roughness of the yarn, they've stayed in place. I know, I love nature with the trees out there and doing things with them. Did you know, the other day I was on here, and Uma, her name is the Book of Uma, but you can't read the comments after it's not live, can you? Anyway, I think it's important that I read them because everybody who ever watches this video in the future won't have a clue what's going on if I just say, chuckle, I get what you mean. Anyway. So let's see, what were we talking about? So your blended oil, your essential oil, what is the purpose of that? Breathe Easy oil. So Helen, you've been watching for 5 years, so why? What is it about me that has kept you entertained? Oh, I didn't even read this. Keto, your videos are actually the reason I started making videos. Years ago, I was doing food prep and scouring YouTube and found your videos. I was so enchanted with what you were doing. I'm enchanting. Somebody, the other day, I saw somebody at church who I had not seen since Kitchener. I used to live in Kitchener. 20 years ago, 35 years ago. Before I married Willem, I lived in Kitchener. And we've been married over 30 years. And I can never remember the number because I can never remember if we got married in 78 or 70. No, not 78. 88 or 87. I think it might have been 87. That means we're 31 years this year. Hey, that's a couple weeks. Willem. Anyway, so I saw this girl, and she had come to visit Kingston. And there I was. And she said she recognized me because of my smile lines on the back here. She said, "Your dimples," but they weren't dimples. There's also a real big line down there that's a smile line. It's really strange what your body does, eh? Like, you don't change, your body changes, and you are thwarted at every, oh no, now my body won't do this, so I can't do that. It gets to be kind of a, a life-altering situation. Or you know what I did yesterday? I went for a walk. I forget what time of day that was. Anyway, the thing about taking photos, if you take photos, they're time-stamped in your phone. And the only way I can remember what I did Monday, since I don't like to really have a lot of scheduled things and go places and stuff, it's by the photos I took. So I must have been at Scarlett's because I took photos of her deer. And now I can remember being at Scarlett's. She has these two deer, two fawns. And they're so sweet. Anyway, I was going to tell you about my journal. I have a really cool journal. Okay, let me tell you about my journal. You see, should I be stopping this and starting this for every topic I change? Because I'm all over the place. How do you title something like this? Update. I gotta check and see if I've said right. Okay, so Keto, you were looking at my videos in your food preparation stuff. I'm not sure that my food preparation stuff was any good at all. I've gotten so many comments about my food preparation stuff. People will say things like, "Your kitchen's filthy, how could you do that? You're the person that shares germs with the whole world." Makes everybody sick. Nobody has ever been sick from my cooking, ever. So whatever you think about germs, they don't make you sick unless you try and have no germs. It's just like dust mites. Try and eliminate dust mites from your body. If you were successful, can you imagine what would happen to your skin? You'd look like all the dead cells would stay there. Every 7 days you're completely got new cells. Anyway, they would all stay there, and you would be scaly. Everybody would look like they had eczema. Now, isn't that an interesting topic? If you think of going back to sleep now, 7 people, with only 2 thumbs up. Notice I'm watching. But I don't know how you thumbs up if you're on a smart TV. Can you do that? Can you comment on a smart TV? Oh, here comes the comments. Not. I have clumsy thumbs and autocorrect hates me. I'm barely intelligible sometimes. Me too. And I don't have time to edit my journal because I'm uploading it, because I got to save it, because I got to put in another entry about something else, and I don't have time. I have time to write it. Not even time. It takes a long time to do my journaling. Okay, so let me see what you said. The comments play along with the video. Oh, at least the videos like this I have watched after the fact too. Oh, wow. So then you see all these comments. Oh, that's very wonderful. See, this is what happens if you don't watch the video. And what else do you say here? People are too judgmental, and your kitchen looked busy to me, not dirty. Yeah, really. Whatever. Like you had 15 projects going on. I think the first videos of yours that attracted me were the soap and food. Yeah, I I used to video when I cooked, but I don't cook so much anymore. Well, you see, I had this amazing camera, and it was a Kodak, and I could fit it right there. It was a perfect fit. And a phone does not fit like that. No, it's too skinny or something, and you try and hold on to it, and it flips on its side, and you can't do it. I know you didn't know this about the way filming happens, right? I was never one to. I did so many different things. I'd wear something like a glasses holder that was the right shape, and I would turn the camera so that the camera was on and pointing out, and I'd set the camera in the window and had a tripod. The tripod was great, but you have to have room for all those big legs. So you can't just take it around with you and swoop around and show, well, this and that without folding up all the legs. And I mean, I suppose you could do it if you had a monopod, but then you got to hold on to it all the time. I have a monopod. I have many things. 9 people. I am misremembering, or did you have a GoPro? Yes, on one point that you had clipped to your head. Yes, and it was wonderful. I used to take it everywhere. Then I had this brilliant idea to I love the comments. I love that we can chat. It's like going and sitting on the phone with your friend at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, you can't do that. Mary and I babysat a house for a month up in the mountains in Connecticut. And I love having this Christmas tree in this video. Isn't that nice tree? Have to string the rest of those balls. Okay, I've interrupted myself again. We were talking about Mary waking up in the night. Oh, yes, we got up in the night and we watched a movie at 3 a.m. She went to the bathroom, I went to the bathroom, and I said, oh, look, we're both up. Why don't we watch a movie? So we did. I don't remember what the movie was, but then we went back to bed. It was fun just staying there in that house. We ate her food. She didn't have much food there. So we made these concoctions with whatever we could find. I think there was oatmeal and there were pickles or olives or something. I don't remember. Mary's a good cook, and so I guess we ate. I have no idea what we ate. I remember when we made stone soup. Oh, that was where my videos began. That was the birth of Nancy Today videos. I made one video at home first about taking red alder sticks and sticking them in my stump benches. Do you remember my stump benches? I took stumps and I lined them up, and then I made a framework around them. So I lined them up on the ground. And then I took alders, I put a few stakes in the ground, and you see where this is going, right? And I made a basket, doot, doot. And I only had to be 3 sides. And so it was as high as the stumps. And so then I filled it with dirt. And that was, and my food storage ideas, yes. Okay. Anyway, so the stump benches, they were pretty cool. I had one in front of the greenhouse. Do you remember that? And then I built a veranda, and then the veranda filled up with things like pottery wheels and kiln and tons of stuff. And the greenhouse filled up with all stuff. Half of it was basket making materials, to be honest. More than half, I think. Well, at one point, that greenhouse, it was a $60 building we built. So first, I went to the alders down by the stream, and I cut off any big alders, if they're big and tall. Well, they could be this big, I guess. You like that greenhouse. So anyway, the greenhouse we made it by, we dug holes every foot along the edge where we were. I guess I have to start at the beginning. So we planted 3 poles. They were 10 feet high. Frank came by. Remember Frank? Frank's very cool. Frank took me dog sledding. You have to look up dog sledding on here. Nancy Today dog sledding. That'll be good. That should be on the most viewed videos. I'm trying to private all the most viewed videos so that other videos will get watched. So I privated about 100 of them the other day. And now I've interrupted myself, and I have no idea what I'm talking about again. I like my Christmas tree. Oh, I go back to your comments. Yes, I had a GoPro, and I put it on the cat, and the cat went under the house. She wanted to get it off, and so she spent a long time rubbing it off. And she scratched the lens so that it wasn't any good. But she had used it, and she would walk along the deck, and then she would jump up onto the roof, and then she would go up and sit on the roof and sunbathe. What a cat. I had no idea, and I would never have known. Look what the time is. It's backwards, is it? Oh, time for those hauls again. A fisherman's friend would be good. I like that chloroseptic. You just spray it, it numbs your throat, but you're not supposed to use it 6 times a day. I use it like 6 times an hour. So I guess I shouldn't use it. I have a headache. I never get headaches. Oh, my neck is all scrunched up. Okay, so let's go back and finish what we're talking about. Oh, my greenhouse, that's right. Okay, the way to build a greenhouse. So first we put in those 3 poles. They were, I don't know, about 10 feet apart. And then we had 2 very long poles, cedar poles. These were all cedar poles that were on the property, like in the woods. And then I took 1 long one and it tapered out, and I attached it to the top of 2 poles, and then it stuck out. And then I got another one. I started at the other end, attached it there, and then onto the other 2 poles, but it didn't reach all the way. But they were together in the middle, where they were attached to the top of that pole. And then William and I worked together, and I went on a ladder under the ridgepole. That was a ridgepole. And he planted, I think first I went around, I made holes all along the side, about a foot deep, and I planted all these, and I tried to turn them so that the angle that they curved at was going over the greenhouse. So I got up on the ladder, and Willem bent over, and I tried to reach the top. I pull it down, and Willem was helping pull it down. And then I would hold that, and he would get the other one and pull it down. And then I would screw them into place. Or I would wire them together and screw them in to the ridgepole. And so eventually we had the whole thing. It was a big tunnel. And then at the end, we put a whole bunch of poles in and just screwed them onto the last 2 that were going that way. So it was a big basket. And then I got more of them. But it wasn't a basket yet. It was just a bunch of arches, right? All these arches. So then I got them and I wove them in between. If I had known then what I know now, if you take 2 and cross them and then cross them back and cross them and cross them back, so that these 2 are twisted, they go this way and then they go that way and then they go that way. And it's a cold. It's post-nasal drip. It's from eating a baguette. It was baked with buckwheat flour. I had a whole bag of I should never have done such a thing. Anyway, I immediately started to get a lot of mucus in my system. And then the mucus, you know how it is. It lets all the germs come and have a lovely life. There's a lot of germs in the house. We've got little children here. Not my little children, my little grandchildren. But I don't have to raise them. They're good. What were we talking about? The greenhouse. So then once it was pretty tight, like it was squares all the way across because it had so many alders going both ways, then we took... You remember me building it? Wait a minute, that was more than 5 years ago, though. You've been around longer than that, Helen. Maybe you didn't subscribe. But that greenhouse, we built that greenhouse because we had this awesome garden. It was on the septic. And I probably shouldn't have built a garden on top of a septic, but anyway, we didn't get sick. And in some countries, they use that stuff to fertilize, so I don't know. But of course, then you don't want to get E. coli, like the romaine lettuce. You know what I found out about the romaine lettuce stuff? These places that have got polluted plants, they are the same ones every time because their drinking water for the plants is, or watering water, what do you call that? Irrigation water? Anyway, the water source is too close to the manure source. Thank you, Helen. You must have written that a few minutes ago when I asked, because it's been a few minutes after that and I already went back to the topic, so there must be a lag. After all, just because it's 2018, which is a very big number now. When I was a little girl, I would imagine how old I would be in the year 2000. I was around 40 or something. I was born in 55, so it would be 35, 45. And so when it was the year 2000, it was really kind of interesting because it was the fulfilling of a time. Like it was something I had looked into the future. I got to do something about this. Maybe I have to eat more fat. Anyway, so after we had the greenhouse all woven like a basket, then we took a roll of plastic. It was like 3 mil or 5 mil or whatever you could get. Why do they call it ML? Anyway, it's the thickness. Millimeters. A millimeter is, if you put your fingers together and you separate them just so you can see through them, that's a millimeter. There's 10 of them in a centimeter, which is a half an inch. Cooking for Christmas. Goodness, I don't know. I guess we'll do the same thing we do for Thanksgiving. We'll have all those vegetables and a turkey. We have some vegans. Scarlett and Bo are vegan. Dad and I are kind of vegan. Except we'll eat meat sometimes. We don't buy it, really. We don't have eggs or stuffed dairy in the house. Except if I need to do it for making cookies for the kids. I made cookies for the kids once, and I never even ate one. I mean, you're talking to a person who was 240 pounds. Small on the grand scale of how big you can get. I never realized I could keep getting big. I thought there was a limit, and she would stop getting big after a certain point, and then it would just stay that way. Or go back. It goes on, it goes off. That's the way I had lived before. Like now, I realized I ate a lot of peanut butter. A lot of peanut butter and honey, and so perhaps like if it's 4,000 calories, right, that's my 2,000 calories from tomorrow, so I better be real careful tomorrow or I'm going to gain it. And that's the way I was when I was a teenager. I could do the balancing thing. If I ate more today, I just eat less tomorrow, and then I'd be fine. It's if those days added up. But you see, with the wheat, it has this thing in it that makes you crave, and I could never get beyond that. The opiate receptors would go crazy every time I ate wheat. Oh, they were so happy. I felt cozy and warm and wonderful. What a way to make you feel while it's tricking you and ruining your body, giving you all these things that you can get from wheat, which is all the stuff that people have already. Anyway, we won't go into all that today. What were we talking about again? We're on greenhouse, and then we moved on. We have 8 people. Look, and we're up to 5 likes. Is it cold or flu? I think it's just germs. It's probably a cold. Yes, it's a cold. You remember me building it. You were talking about the greenhouse, Nancy. What are you cooking for Christmas? Hi, CR. Where are you, CR? Do you know the other people on here? Let me tell you who everybody is. Keto is in Cape Breton. Helen Roberts is in Scotland. What's my favorite YouTube channel? Oh, I used to really like Eat the Weeds. Oh, and there's another one I like. I like the news. I really like to know what's going on so I can have an opinion about it. I don't know why I like to know so much. I just think it's important to know. Maybe it's not as important as I think it is. A lot of news isn't worth knowing. But anyway, so there's this channel, and it is a compilation of all the disasters that happened that week. So there'll be like huge rivers washing away cars in the middle of the road in Saudi Arabia, and Mount Pinatubo, or no, different mountains explode, and volcanoes, and then there's earthquakes, and so it's personal videos. Oh, that's right, CR, you're from Mexico, from telling about the immigrants. So are they in your town? I was thinking about, and so I've been watching about them a lot because I'm really interested in the news. So my favorite channel, it's the name has nothing to do with what's in it. It's called End Times Signs. And it's just these compilations of what happened this week on the earth. It's pretty amazing what we don't hear about on the news. There are many, many countries in the world and many things happening, and many people much smarter than anybody we know. But we don't hear about them very much, unless they do something amazing that we hear about. Oh, 10 people. So that's my favorite YouTube channel. Now and then I go look at, what was the guy's name? Tard. Remember the Shaytards? Yeah, I would go and look at them now and then. They were a strange bunch, like me as like the pot calling the kettle black. But they were from my church. I lived in Utah. In my church, it's not like in other churches. In other churches, people have many different opinions and different... In my church, if you're living the way the church teaches, your lives are going to be pretty much the same as the lives of every other person. I mean, you do food storage, you have family home evening, you take the kids to church, you have prayers, you do your genealogy, family's a big thing. And you love other people. I think that's the biggest thing. In my church, people really love other people. You can change towns in my church. You can go anywhere in the world and go into the church, and you will receive the same kind of welcome you receive at home. Your talks will be on the same subjects. You got the same leaders. I mean, your local leaders are going to be different. But people in my church, when they change cities, when they move, they have a new set of friends so quickly, because as soon as your membership records get there, which now is about an hour, but as soon as your membership records get there, you can be given a calling. So you can receive a calling doing anything. You can be teaching children, or you can be teaching music, or you can be conducting the music, which of course nobody knows how to do any of this when they first come. But then you may teach lessons, or you may have other jobs that you might want to do that are... Anyway, we take care of each other. So we have this ministering program. So in some churches, they wait for the minister to come and visit each person, like once a year or something. But in our church, we organize ourselves so that if there's people with needs, there's people that are ministering to them. And anybody can minister to anybody, of course, at any time. But if we kind of have an organization thing about it, then we have certain people watching over other certain people. And it used to be home and visiting teaching, but they've changed it now, so it's ministering. This is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Anyway, sorry, I digress. But so what I was saying as I watch Shaytards from time to time, because they are also members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it's interesting to see how they live their lives. They take their children to the gym. When I was watching them before, the children were very little, but now, and I was always kind of concerned about the children because they would, they were on display all the time. Their whole lives were on display. And they had this camera facing them every time they talked to their parents. You know, and I think it would be kind of, there's a point at which the kids are going to say absolutely not, which I think is what's happened now because they were taking a year off or something. I don't know if that's not right now, if that's before, but I can imagine that when children turn 10 or 12, there's no way that you're filming their whole life like you did when they were little. Anything that they did when they were little is not happening. But children are, you know, adolescents, they don't want to be filmed, especially teenagers. I know, because I tried to film mine. I have many. Do you know I put all my kids' videos into a playlist? Well, I put all my kids, everything is in playlists. There's 500 playlists. There's probably more than that, but. So if you think of a word, of something you're curious about, especially nature, if you think of a word, you wonder if I've made any videos about it, you just type in Nancy today and then that word. And you'll be amazed at what comes up. There's no games except Scrabble. That's on there. I have my own Scrabble rules. Yep. Esther got to understand my Scrabble rules. Esther lived halfway between Canada and Georgia. And so she came up here, and there's an island that's been in the family for generations. And so they come up every summer for 2 weeks and visit their island. And she came to church, and so we met. And of course, having the same culture, right? And sorry, looking at how dry my skin is, I think maybe I've killed off all the dust mites. That must be what's happened. Hey, I wonder if what if eczema happens on your skin in a spot that the dust mites don't live? Maybe the dust mites would have eaten all that scaly stuff off. Maybe they do, but because they are not eating it in that specific spot, then you get the buildup of all that. And then it irritates the skin beneath it. I wonder if dust mites are involved in eczema. I'm going to ask Siri. Can I ask her and make a video, or will it stop? Yes, it'll probably stop. But I think I can make a note. So what am I going to ask Siri? I get so sidetracked looking at that beautiful Christmas tree. And the lights which go down the railing. They go all the way around until they go over to that tree over there. If you could see it, but you can't. Esther. What was I telling you, Esther? Halfway between here and Georgia. I sent her a book once. I didn't have anything to wrap it up in, so I just taped it. I taped the whole book, so she had to cut the tape off so she could read the book. She couldn't take the tape off the book. It was a great book, so I thought she should have it. Poor people. You know, when I used to sell soap, people would order it, and it was great that somebody wanted my soap. Oh, this is wonderful. But then, and then I never do anything right away. And so it would just go on the back burner that, yeah, somebody wants soap, and I got to send it to them. And a week later, I think, oh, yeah, I got to do that. A month later, Man, I have got to do that. This is terrible. Helen, did you say something? Oh, keto. Wow, we've got so many topics going on here. Okay, let's go back here. So I'm cooking for Christmas, probably turkey and potatoes and mashed potatoes and stuffing. I won't eat it. I wonder if I could make gluten-free stuffing. Ugh, wouldn't be any good for you anyway. Uh, Um, when I lived on the farm in Tennessee, we used to be, we didn't eat, we were vegetarian. And back when vegetarian meant absolutely nothing, no leather. We didn't use leather because you had to kill a cow. We didn't use eggs because you had to steal from the chicken. We didn't use honey because you had to rob bees. Anyway, that was the idea. So now I lost the subject again. So I try and figure it out. What in the world could I have been wanting to tell you from the farm? I don't know. I'll go back to your comments. I like that greenhouse. It got so full, stuffed. And we took it down, and now I have this little hobbit hole, and this deck becomes my great storage underneath it. What am I cooking for Christmas? So it'll just be like Thanksgiving. I used to make a lot of Christmas stollen. I love making Christmas stollen, but that is definitely not gluten-free, and that is definitely. I used to gain weight eating one slice. I could feel it. I don't know. Are you sensitive? Like when you put on weight, can you feel it on a certain place? I could always feel it on a certain place on my leg, and then I'd feel it a different place next time, and it was like my body was laying down the fat, and I could feel it. Lately, I've been very curious about where where does your body how do you end up with energy after you eat food? And there's some I could understand digestion and the whole eat it in it goes out it goes. That I understood, but never made sense how you get energy. And it's called cellular respiration. It's when the cell takes the little bit of glucose, which is the easiest for the body to work with, and most things are turned into glucose, except protein is not. So the glucose becomes energy. And if you don't have glucose, then it will use the protein, which is why the Atkins diet probably works. Okay, so, and why your body will eat up its muscles. But that doesn't make sense. Because why doesn't it eat the fat? Anyway, it's very interesting. So on the cellular level, now I have to find out how it gets there. The glucose is in the cell. And I guess it's in the bloodstream, and the blood goes everywhere. Every cell gets blood, but not every cell, because if you look at a chunk of fat, if you pull a chunk of fat apart, there's all those layers, fibrous layers between them, turning it into little squares, and you break it, it falls apart into little squares. I used to make soap. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yes. Now we're going to change the subject again and go back there. I don't think so. Anyway, it was about, I don't get around to sending things very quickly. Now I've lost this subject. Darn it. Cellular respiration. So what happens is you get a glucose molecule, and it's changed into two of something else. And when it's changed, it gives off an ATP, which is an energy. And so it changes into these two things, And then from there, each of those change into 3. So you get 6 ATPs. And there's other things you get. So these 6 ATPs, it takes 2 ATPs to do this process. Isn't that interesting? And so the ATPs are released and they are energy. And if you don't use your energy, I guess it'll store it. So you can have energy later when you don't have any food. Isn't that a good way to look at it? Cellular respiration. So that's where it's happening. That's where you're getting your energy from. So every cell gets one molecule of your glucose, and they change that molecule, and then they have 4 ATPs from it, 4 energies in each cell. So if you eat, it's like there's no sense eating if you're not doing something with the energy. If you don't need the energy, then I don't eat if I don't need, well, that, you get into the complicated thing about sugar, or in this case, honey, because I've been eating honey for my cold, which is really bad for my pain. Sorry. 9 people. Hello, 9 people. Now, I haven't heard from all of you 9 people. CR is at the border. Let's go see what CR said. I'm from Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico. I'm the one who was telling you about the immigrants from Honduras. Okay, and then he said something else. Some of them are returning to their countries, others make it, and they're now in the USA. Really? Some people got in? I didn't know that. And then Keto said about people, news, a lot of reason we don't hear about that stuff is the language barrier. People don't hear about it because the local news isn't big enough to go national. It's just kept local language. That's what I always liked about BBC News. If I went on the internet on BBC News, this was before phones, there would be a list of the kinds of news, world, and just all the different kinds of news. And then you could also go to it would have a list of all the countries. It would say Africa, and then it would be by country. And so you could click on all those things and find out the news. Because there's amazing news happening all over the world. You just have to find out what it is. And if it's bad enough, then you hear about it on national radio or national television or something. But they only pick 2 or 3 things to focus on for a whole day. Hello, when there's so much news in the world, unbelievable. How could any news service focus on 3 things and then chat about them all day? I mean, aren't they intelligent? Wouldn't they get bored? I mean, good grief, who can sit there and talk about the same thing for hours? I can't. Okay, we're going to find out what else is happening here. Well, the language barrier too. But you can get subtitles. Like you can learn another language. Willem and I are working on our Spanish. And he's really an academic, Willem. He's got a PhD in chemistry. Very academic. He decided he wanted to learn more Spanish, and so he's got this thing on his computer, and he's learning Spanish words and definitions, and he's compiling that's the way I would have to do it. You have to compile it, make a dictionary of the words you know. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to focus on the fact that I'm doing all these new words. 10 people, good morning. Let's see, what time is it now? In Canada, not all of Canada, just in Eastern time zone, it is 10 to 5. I went to bed very early again. I went to bed about 7 or my back was hurting so bad I just went to lie down on my bed because chairs didn't feel so good. I used that bronco riding exercise machine at Cindy's house the other day. Remember that? And I think that did my back in. And then having to eat sugar. Okay. Let's see what else you said. My favorite food and the best dish you prepare. I love making lentils. Now, to me, I mean, you say that, well, who likes lentils, you know, these brown things. There are like 20, 30 kinds of beans that sort of fall under the category of lentils in my mind. I want to show you stuff. I could do that now, couldn't I? I might start making noise and wake the family up. The 2 families up. Anyway, but I have all these jars of legumes. And they all cook differently. Not too much differently. Usually it's, it could be equal parts water or 2 or 3 cups of 3 parts water. And now with my Instant Pot, it doesn't matter how big the beans are. Now I can just cook it all in there. I used to use a saucepan, and I would, my church with this distribution center and with our Provident Living, we take care of each other. So we've got the storehouse. What is it called? The Bishop's Storehouse. And the idea is that if someone's in need, then the bishop can get stuff from the storehouse and help the person. And so that's what happens. And the church now, we have so many farms, and the church produces lots of food and then sells it to us at cost in this, like there's no profit on that, I don't think. Well, definitely not in the temples, there's no profit. Like if you rent clothing in the temple, it has to be exactly the amount to cover the cost. There can't be any money making in the temple because that's what Jesus was really upset about, right? So we can't have any profit in the temple. And I don't think there's a profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, in this. Anyway, I digress. So I have these big containers, these big number 10 tin cans of onions and carrots and dried apples and refried beans and pinto beans, and I didn't get rice because I can't eat rice really. I can eat it if it's very sparingly, I think. But sparing is really hard for me. You can't tell my hair is braided so beautifully, can you? Oh no, camera orientation is locked, rotate. Okay, so we're going to put this over here so it looks like it's a braided thing on my head. On my head, on my head. 9 people. Morning. Are you waking up? Are you doing the dishes? Are you listening to this? Are you trying to sleep? Is this ASMR and what's helping you to fall asleep? Huh, all that work getting my braid on there and it didn't even count so you could see it. I mean, after all, if you got it, flaunt it. Okay. So what were we talking about? My favorite food and the best dish you prepare. Okay, so what I do, I take 1 amount of red lentils and water, and then ASMR doesn't work for me. Did you hear that? I think somebody woke up. But there's nothing above this room. So nobody's up there. I think an animal might have come on the deck. Oh, I'm discovering I have all these animals living under the deck, but now I'm supposed to be telling you about my recipe. This must be so hard to listen to. People get very frustrated with me. Okay. And I have a headache. So I use equal red lentils and water now. I used to use 2 to 1. And I'd use a handful of dried onions, a handful of dried carrots, and then I would put in a teaspoon of crushed garlic or chopped garlic, and cumin and coriander, and it would just turn out tasting wonderful. But I find these legumes really take the spices disappear in them. So what usually, if you were to put cumin and coriander on peas, right, it would be right there. You'd taste it. But when you use it in lentils, it just gets absorbed away and it's gone. And that's why they use so much spices in some of those countries. I hope I'm not too loud. Maybe I should be facing this way. Maybe I should be facing this way. And if I whisper all the ASMR, oh no, that'll never work. My throat is going to cough up a storm. Anyway, and so then I bring it to a boil. Now, also, millet is really nice. Millet, just a little bit of millet in with that. Millet is a rice substitute. And it's like the same way. You bring these things to a boil, you turn them on low for 15 minutes, and then they're done. It's the easiest thing in the world. And now when I make my lentils, I would sometimes, we harvest fiddleheads because they're organically grown, they're wild, they've got all the nutrition that's ever been in them is in them. They have not been processed or GMO'd or anything. Anyway, and we also have a huge amount of them. So we freeze fiddleheads every year. So I'll take a pack of fiddleheads and I'll cut them. You know, fiddleheads are the top of a fern, ostrich fern, and they go around and around and around and around. And then they open up and they have leaves on the side, and then they become a fern leaf. Anyway, I think I'm getting sleepy. I'm putting myself to sleep. It's all this ASMR. Okay. So, we're lost again. Then when it's done, some things take longer, you see, and you got to kind of make sure that you got stuff. If you get an Instant Pot, well, no, it still takes longer. Anyway. That's one of my favorite ones now. Oh, you know what's really good? Hello, Jackie Plastow. Wait, someone new showed up and I missed her? Okay, I was going to finish telling you this. Another amazing dish I like to make, which I will show you someday, is very simple. You take, I love hummus. I make hummus in the blender. To make hummus, I take chickpeas. Now that I have an Instant Pot, I could make it in there. You take a container of chickpeas, but the chickpeas in the containers have a little bit of a crunch to them, and they always mess up my intestines. So if you nuke them, pressure cook them, then they're good. Anyway, and so hummus is a can of that and a tablespoon or a big dollop of sesame seed paste, or sesame seed butter, which is called tahini, and a dash of lemon juice and some salt. And you can spice it up if you want. Do what you want, it's yours. Anyway, so I love hummus. And so what I do is I'll make hummus and I'll add olives. Olives are very interesting, the way they change the flavor of the entire dish. You don't need many. But now I've heard that white vinegar is made from wheat. Probably fermented wheat, blah, blah, blah. So it's not gluten-free. No, you can't eat wheat. You can't eat vinegar. But I don't know how that'll affect the olive stuff. So I use frozen avocado, because if you get frozen avocado, at least it's not rotten. And maybe this chair is... That was a lot of noise. I'm sorry if I woke you up. I bet some of you, there's 8 of you, I bet some of you have this under your pillow. You're listening to it while you try and go back to sleep. It's a good idea. I'm putting myself to sleep. Okay, so this is my wonderful dish. Hummus, avocado, little cherry tomatoes, black olives, green olives, cucumber, anyway, or any combination thereof. And you can add other things or leave things out, but it tastes so good. That's my favorite thing. I'll have to make it for you sometime. I haven't been doing cooking videos because I don't have a camera set up thing. And now that it's live, it is so much easier. Uploading was such a problem. All right, let's see what else we're talking about here. So keto said apparently they can cause redness and itchiness, eczema because of an allergy. Oh, so the dust mites are what the eczema is allergic to? Oh, so I was thinking that if you have dust mites all over your body, getting rid of the dead skin, then the eczema is a place that it didn't do that. But it's an allergy to the dust mites. Is that what you're saying? Okay, let's see else. Oh, Uma. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I'm learning a lot from you. I told my daughter about this little device that can listen to plants. And it's the fluctuation in the electricity in the tree. The fluctuations, and they assigned the musical scale to the numbers of the frequency. And so as the frequency rises, you get a different note. And so you hear, and hi, Uma. I think about New Mexico. I may have to come and visit you, you know. You might not want to get too friendly with me because I may show up. Anyway, not today. My deer are here. Well, not right now. Oh, I'm showing my beautiful Christmas tree with some of the balls. Those are the Christmas balls. Those are on a string. Actually, the string goes up higher, I think. Maybe it didn't make it very far. I had to throw it up into the tree. And I tried to have them come out so that they looked like the shape that the tree should be instead of the shape that the tree is. I know others that would want those lines to be straight. I was looking at my teacup trail yesterday or last week or something, and I was thinking about how every pole is at an angle. And I was looking at that and thinking, some people, this would bother some people, and they would go out and straighten them all up. I wonder what it would look like if they were all straight. Might make the garden look better. It might give it a more sharp look, more organized or something. When things are kind of falling over, it looks like it's in disrepair. Like the woods. The woods is all in disrepair. Oh, I can't wait till it gets light out so I can go for a walk. But I can go for a walk in the dark, especially when there's moonlight. I don't think there's any moonlight tonight. There might be. Oh, Lois, you were surprised to see me awake. I think this is a great thing to do. I think whenever I can't sleep in the night, I'm going to just do this. I mean, it might be helpful for somebody. It's helpful for me. Make me think about all these topics I don't think about too much. Okay, what else is on here? So, Uma, you got a lot to catch up on. We've had a lot happening here. Oh, you know, about CR, about the people from Honduras. I watched a video, a program. Actually, it was by ABC, I think, and it was a documentary on refugees leaving Venezuela. And these are all middle class people who are in a nice house with running water and electricity and all that. And they decide that they cannot continue like this. They can't buy food because the inflation rate, it's going to be $1 million. So people are bartering, which is the only way I think you can do it. But so people are having 2 and 3 jobs just so they can make enough money to buy food. I mean, forget about luxuries and anything else. But they lived there when the boom time in Venezuela, when the oil was plentiful. But now the oil has run out, or the price went down, and so these people are leaving these conditions like that, and they're all walking to the Colombian border, thinking that there's a pot of gold in the Colombian border. But actually, then they end up standing in these long, long lines waiting for food. And of course, they're in refugee conditions, which is nothing like a nice house. I don't think that leaving is the answer, personally. I don't think I would want to leave here and walk somewhere far away so I could live outside and have to worry about where I'm going to go to the bathroom. Maybe that's why we're taught to grow gardens. The prophet has been telling us to grow a garden and to learn how to take care of yourselves, home production and food storage. We've been taught that since the church was organized in the 1830s, or reorganized. What does it say? Well, Nancy, I'm going to have breakfast and have my pills, so hope you feel better soon and you can have a sleep. Well, I'm not going to be able to sleep today because Desmond's got the flu and he's going to stay home and I'm going to take care of him. Maybe we'll sleep together. I'm sorry to hear you're I look like Jackie Plasto. Who in the world is Jackie Plasto? There's a lady that I was told I'd look like. Diane Keaton? No, I don't think that's a name. Diane. She was Superman's mother in the episode where everybody goes and the new Lois and Clark. On the episode where everybody tries to get this toy. The evil monster man has this toy that makes everybody greedy. The Simpsons guy. No, not Simpsons, the Samsons guy. Anyway, so look at this. We're getting through all these questions. This is great. Apparently, they cause redness. Greetings. Hi, Uma. You always feel so left out because ASMR never works for you. I don't think it works for me either. I don't know, but people told me that my voice is kind of ASMR-y. You know, it makes people fall asleep. Never works on me. Okay, I'll go down here. I was surprised. Oops. Uma, where does it say this? We can visit each other. I haven't been to Canada yet. Anybody, you guys want to come visit? Doesn't matter what time of year, you can come and visit. It's probably, right now we have that couch right there. We have one in the living room, and we have a queen-size bed in the living room. You get no privacy. We could hang a sheet up, I guess. Mary Jane comes and stays there. That's kind of fun. Abraham comes and stays there. But anyway, so that's what we've got for accommodations. We also have a studio down below. It's my pottery studio. But I'm thinking that a cot in there would be a good idea. I know where the cot frame is. I'm going to take it down there. It's in my room in back of the door. It doesn't need to be there. I'm going to take that down there. I'm going to set up the cot. I'm going to make a bed out of it. I'm going to put it in this over to the side. And then it'll be freezing down there. There's no heat, but we can turn the heater on. I need to put a nice wooden or heated floor. That's what I need in there, is a heated floor. That would be perfect. It's cement, but I need to lay down on top of the cement what they did out here, when they, I was thinking out there, no, but it's what I'm sitting on. They put 2x6s. Morning prayer, Nancy. Oh, you want me to say the prayer? Okay. Excuse me while I interrupt. Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for loving us. Thank you for watching over us and giving us fun things to do, like talking to each other on here. Thank you for blessing us with so many things in our lives. Thank you that we're not refugees at the moment. And bless us if that ever happens to us, that Thou will take care of us and that Thou will give us the things that we need. We ask that Thou will bless all these other people whose countries have become unlivable for them. And bless us all that will be good, that will love Thee and serve Thee, and that will help to move Thy work ahead, and that will take care of each other and spread love on the earth. And as we start this day, it's kind of early to start the day, but anyway, as we start this day, I'd like to ask that Thou will prompt us with ideas of things that we can do that will help make things better for everyone. Prompt us that we will do good and that we'll be able to know Thy will and serve Thee this day. And these things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. There we go. That was morning prayer. Oh, we lost a few people. Maybe they fell asleep. I'm going to check them and see what we're talking about here. So you want to come up here? Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, isn't that nice? Those are my tree lights. I have another tree out there. Is that what you were responding to? Because I already showed that to you. Oh, thank you. Well, Nancy, I'm going to have breakfast. Oh, yeah, it was really nice to have Helen here. 5:07 a.m. So we guess we're after 5 now. Thanks, Uma, for prompting me to do that. What's your favorite scripture? Do you guys have a favorite scripture? Mine is, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths for good. One way I know that God loves me is because I get these promptings of things I should do. Oh, olives in oil instead of vinegar. Yes, I bought olives in oil the other day. Okay then. I'll do it. You have to kind of buy them at the deli to get them that way, don't you? I haven't seen them packed in oil in the store, but I'm not very good at, I'm just learning about olives in the pickles and olives line. There's a lot of kinds of olives, aren't there? Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, who's Jackie Plastow? Oh, I can't look it up on Siri because you're on Siri. Okay, I've run out of things to say. Your turn. It's hard to get a word in edgewise, isn't it? Well, here's your chance. Get your word in. We're waiting. Are you typing furiously? Typing. We're waiting for it to get here. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Wonder how many seconds it'll take to get here. Look, lots of things came. Yes, but for health, it's worth it. You're right. That's interesting that white vinegar is made. What did you say it was made from? Wheat. But what part of wheat? They ferment the wheat. We have some apple cider in the fridge that's going bad, so I figure it's turning to vinegar. I guess if you just leave the lid off, it'll turn to vinegar and you'll have apple cider vinegar, and I won't have to go to the store. I don't like going to the store. When I go to the store, I spend money. There's nothing can be gained from spending money. Then you have stuff, and you have so much stuff, and it's everywhere. I put, you know what I did yesterday? We have all these chairs. Oh, wheat and rye, they say. Very interesting. I never really liked vinegar very much. So, if you lived in a country where, like Honduras, say, now Honduras is different because it's also very violent. There's all these drug cartels, and now that Chapo is in jail, he was extradited to the United States. That left a vacuum. So there's so many drug wars going on down there. But the thing about drug wars, it's the same thing as the heroin epidemic back in the 670s, and how terrible, there were such gutters full of people with heroin addictions, and they died off. They all died of their addictions, and the streets became normal streets again. I think. Maybe I've got some of my facts wrong. Maybe that's a broad statement. I have been told I sometimes make broad statements. But I think that the drugs cartels, like Chapo, I mean, he killed 2,000 plus people. But you know who they were? They were the drug cartel, all of his opponent druggies. So, you know, at some point, you have to be using up the population. You kill everybody off that's in a rival gang. Pretty soon there's no more gangs or no more drug cartel. But that's not going to happen because the thirst for those drugs is so great in the United States. You see, I really think it's the U.S. druggies have created this problem because of the thirst for it, and it's coming in so underhandedly, and it's so, the price of it is so elevated. You get these huge gang wars things going. In the Book of Mormon, there's this group. This was back in, I guess it was about 500 years before Christ or something. There was this group of people. They were called the Gadianton robbers, and they just made their living by robbing people. They lived in the wilderness, and they would come in and they would steal from the flocks, and they would, and it was very dangerous. People would be getting killed for no reason all the time. I think that's a very similar thing is happening down there in different places in South America or Central America. It's kind of sad, eh? It's pretty sad. Is Mexico North America? Canada, U.S., and Mexico are North America. But sometimes they put Mexico with Central America. Anyway, it's Latin America. Then it goes with South America and Central America. Latin. Why would they call it Latin? It's Spanish. Spanish America. But then it makes you think of Mexicans in the United States. Words certainly get changed from one use to the next. I'm going to see what you guys have been saying. Nobody's saying much, because now it's getting to be time to get up, right? Oh yeah, about the people in Honduras. So, it's pretty dangerous there. But in a place that's not necessarily dangerous, like Venezuela, is it dangerous there too? It's probably dangerous everywhere. find my lozenges. Yeah, this is a bad chair. This hurts my head. I think I should get rid of this chair. I think that would be a good idea. I mean, I love this chair, but it's really bad for my neck. Okay, to the dump it goes. Or, better yet, it can go to a teepee. Now, which would be the best teepee for it? Of course, wherever it's going to be, it's going to hurt my head. There. No, it doesn't hurt my head. It's perfect. This thing used to be so full. And I found the zipper. And I took out tons of the stuffing. I should probably take out more of the stuffing. I have 7 teepees now. It says we have low battery power. I have 7 teepees. Want to know about them? Should I tell you about the history of my teepees? Once upon a time, I went for a walk and I discovered a teepee. And so I asked my friend how to make a teepee, because he had made one. And so he told me. And so I made the first teepee, which was right out here in the yard. The greenhouse was there, and then the teepee was here, and the stump bench was in front of the teepee. I'm gonna go for a walk. It's really bad on my neck. So now I have a teepee down at the bus shelter. Further down along the road, I have Sedge Meadow teepee by the bridge, the highway bridge, a bridge over the stream. Ben brought his chainsaw and whippersnipper this autumn, and I went through making pathways everywhere. It was really cool to be able to walk along these pathways now. It's very nice. There's 1, 2. We used to have one up by the spring. Are you aware of the spring? There we go. Now you can see the lights. Christmas is coming. Hey, are you still there, Uma? In New Mexico. What is your view out the window? Can you send me a picture of your view? Hey, can everybody send me a picture of your view? I should tell you that I am on Messenger. I'm on Facebook. It's NANCYTODAAY. That's because they didn't believe today was my last name. They wanted me to have a real name, and so I had to misspell it. So I'm Nancy Today on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and Tumblr and Twitter. But I just put things in one place and then it all gets shared everywhere. So I'm not writing in all these things. But my favorite thing to do online is my blog, Nancy Today. I can show you how I do it. Well, I don't know if you really want to know that, but I guess you could leave. Oh, people are coming back again. Okay, so I'll show you how I do my blog. It's nancytoday.livejournal.com. I'm telling you where to find my journal for you person that has just shown up. I wonder who you are. Maybe you'll tell me soon. Okay, so it's this app. It's the one with the pen, right? In the middle. It's Live Journal. Okay. Hey, you know what you can do if your thing falls and you break the screen? You don't want to use it anymore because it's going to cut your finger, right? Ha! All you have to do is use those glass screen protector things. Wait a minute, you said something there about speak to me of poetry. We had an ice storm. And during the ice storm, I could read to you from my book. Let me read to you from my ice storm book, but then I can't tell you about my journal. Okay, I'll get my book because it's so cool. I'll just read little bits from my book. Okay. You know, I used to be a writer, right? And so, here's my book. It's called Canoeing with Beavers, and you didn't see what that name was. And here are the chapters. Wow. This brings me back. Abraham is now 26. And 26, 28. No, Elidas 29, so 27, 25. So Abraham's 25. These are the chapters. A beaver from the window. Abraham and I walked to the great dam. A walk toward the great dam with Elida. The great dam is down there. It's where the marsh is, where I go now. Walking after the storm with Willem. Valentine's Day tree. February rain. The return of the waterfalls. The gift of the floodwaters. Frozen floodwater falls. The pain of spring. Moving the canoe. The pain of spring. That's page 36. Should I read that? Moving the canoe. Canoeing in the marsh woods as the roads wash away. Enjoying the flood. Early morning in the fen. Beaver watching before dark. The lodge beside the lower pond. The beaver lodge. The lower pond is now called Serenity Dippity Pond. Fishing with the boys. Checking on the new dam. Sitting in the marsh woods by the new dam. The beaver checks out the floodwaters below. Beavers in the lodge. Destroying the dam. The beaver baffle. Canoeing in the draining beaver pond. Checking on the dam with Abby. Discovering the entrance to the lodge. Canoeing in the rain. Discovering a beaver channel and bullfrogs. Money! Oh, hi! You finally did it. See, I'm scattered enough that I will hit the time that you are available. You don't have to come to me. I'll come to you. I'm reading, this is the list of chapters in my book called Canoeing with Beavers. Discovering a beaver channel and bullfrogs. Cleaning up the Marshwoods Pond. The boys arrive at the pond before the fireflies. Elida and the ladies' only pond. Playing in the ladies' only pond with Virginia. Up the stream to the great dam. Learning patience at the great dam. Of dams and dying. Early morning beavers and bird watching. The overflow. Willem removes the huge new dam. Awaiting the repair team. Beavers at the first lodge. Black ducks, rails, dams, and things. Brook trout versus beavers. Mary Pinerio. Oh, hi, Mary. You're in Maine? You've been watching off and on for 6 years. Wow, Mary. I never knew you were in Maine. I would have come and see you. I went to Maine, was it last summer? I think so. Last summer when I had a broken leg. That was after. So, this is my Canoeing with Beavers printed out version, and I kept editing and editing and editing and editing and editing and editing and editing. Okay, I'll read you one paragraph. That's all you get to know. I have no idea what. Okay. I listened with fervor. The sound of water pushing up into the lodge came from under the layers of sticks, followed by the sound of a wide body, entering and flopping down to rest. High-pitched gurgling, similar to that of a red squirrel, chattered momentarily. Silence followed. After a minute, another sound like a burp. Then another baby-like chatter twittered. It took a moment to search my memory for a sound similar to the one I had just heard. I had never known the noises of a beaver kit, except the slapping of a tail on the water. Time stood still as the light dimmed further. A gush of water, complete with ripples, moved outward from the sticks where they touched the flooded water above the grass. I could hear the movement beneath the surface, but I couldn't see anything. It made no sense that there should be an entrance so close to the surface, nor that water could ripple from such a spot into the grass. It simply wasn't deep enough for an animal to remain hidden in that spot. I watched the stream and the peninsula for ripples. A drop of water fell from the bushy alders that hung over the stream, moving the water slightly. Again I heard the squirrel-like sound from within the lodge. I could picture a baby beaver nursing, pushing his nose against the warm body of its mother, making small sounds as he drank the comforting milk. Aware that I was standing on an island in the midst of a flooded grassland, I knew I had to leave before darkness rose around me, in spite of the fascinating comings and goings of the beaver this evening. I divided the alders that surrounded me and emerged from the area, wondering what the beavers were hearing as I moved on the ground near them. I had never heard the sound of a beaver before, nor been to a lodge when beaver were inside. It had been a new experience, never to be forgotten. I wanted to run home and tell the children and Willem. Isn't that nice? I wrote that. Me. I wrote it. That's amazing. That's good writing. Anyway, so these are on my journal. They're all on my journal, actually. It's under Exploring the Woods. Oh, thank you, Mary. I think I know you. Penario. Have we talked a lot? You know, I changed this around and there was this chapter at the end of the book. And there was a chapter at the end of the book, and I decided to put that at the beginning of the book. You see. Oh, and The Call of the Wild, that was a good one. Oh, yeah, you bought soap. I remembered typing your name. It was on my little invoice paper I used to do. I had no idea how to do an invoice paper or whatever it was. The Beaver's Example. I wonder what this is about. Shall I read it? I have learned a lot this year observing the wildlife around me. Beavers are like people in many ways and unlike them in others. They are hard workers. Many other animals just find a place to live and move in. The raccoon, for instance, finds a suitable hollow under some root or rocks and takes up habitation. The same is true for skunks and porcupines. Minks follow a muskrat into its den and plunder the home after killing and eating its occupants. Morbid. But like us, beavers have to work hard to build homes and support themselves. A beaver can't just live anywhere. It has to renovate the entire landscape into a pond situated in just the right place. Not all of this is socially acceptable, however. Progress to a beaver isn't always progress to the property owner. Just like man's real estate developments aren't good for either the wildlife or the people around it. I have to go, but I pray that you have a blessed day. You probably said day. Thank you for letting me hear a small bit of your lovely book. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. So I think I'm going to tell you about my journal, because I don't know if everybody knows about my journal. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you on this one. Okay, this is a typical journal entry, except you can see it when it's not like that. Maybe if I turn down the light. Ha! Cellular respiration. I found out how you get energy. I found it out. Okay, so like it seems to be posting now. When I put up a video, it'll tell like Nancy Today Kids. This is my Canadian life. Like I got to get rid of that thing. That's the default description that goes on my videos. Anyway. So it's got a few of those. Okay, but this is Sunday afternoon. So If you tap on it, it opens, you see? And then hey, somebody responded. My view on Sunday, I said, it's easy to go meet your neighbors. Usually we don't go because we are afraid. We probably got 10 things that we're afraid of, but we don't have any good consequences in our mind for going. Right? Do you ever think, oh, it would be nice if I went and met the neighbors? Be nice to take something, but then we don't do it. We don't drop in. Why not? Well, it might be the wrong time. They might not know we're coming. They might not want us to come. They might be just leaving. They might be in the middle of something very important and we're interrupting. They might not like us. We might sit down and visit, but then they might not like me. Okay, so anyway, there's all these fears that we have. You know, they've got a nicer house than I do. Or my house looks really terrible and maybe they don't like me because of my house. You know, whatever your fears are. So anyway, it's easy to go meet your neighbors. Usually we don't go because we are afraid. We probably got 10 things that we're afraid of, but we don't have any good consequences in our mind for going. Those fears things just take over. We should just write them down. Whatever. And so we don't go. But if you go in love, then you go like Grandma Nancy, and you're going over to see your neighbors. Then you go out of love. You take something maybe, I don't know, some food item, or maybe something that you feel they would, something you've, see my typing is dictated and it's kind of bad. Some food item or something you feel like sharing with them, with your love. Your love becomes a material thing or something with a tag attached to it. You get to keep the tag. It helps you remember the item, like muffins that come with a little. Muffins are not the tag. Muffins are the tag. It's a tag of your love. You know, I once went to the beach. I was in Virginia Beach, and I stood by the water, and the sound of the water was so amazing. I had never heard the sound of the ocean. It sounded so spiritual. There was something wonderful about that moment. And so then after I was done listening to that, I was wandering around in the little shops that they had on the pier. And they had this little box. It was covered with shells. It was white. It's on my dresser in my mother's house. Anyway, and inside that box, I put the memory. So if you open the box, it's empty, right? Nothing in there. Why would you want that? But that's, my memory is in there. And every time I look at the box, every time I talk about the box, I have that memory. So that is a tag for that feeling, right? The box is the tag. So if you go somewhere with love and you are giving, you are the person that is making the effort to do something nice. If you go in that manner, not like I have to have a reason to come, I need an excuse. Love can be your excuse, but making the tag, taking the tag along, we'll put a, you leave muffins. Or something. Anyway, I don't eat muffins. My battery is getting low. I may have to stop talking in a while. I wonder how I'll find out how low my battery is. There's so many things to talk about in my videos. I should go through and chop them up and paste them into separate videos, but then they would never get seen anyway. Your love becomes a material thing or something with a tag attached. You see, because you can't remember love, but you can remember the feeling of love if you see an item that is associated with that love. That is the tag. You get to keep the tag. It helps you remember the item. And so coming over in love is a wonderful way to meet your neighbors. Somebody responded. People don't generally respond on my things. I mean, they can. There's no reason they can't. You were such an amazingly bright spirit. love to feel your happiness as it comes through your posts. And you are spot on with your assessments of human behavior. Love you. Look at that. That was very nice. Thank you for complimenting me. Compliments really help me a lot. The best compliments are from God. Because if you can get your compliments from God, you don't need to get them from other people. Okay, so to write in my journal, I will show you how you do it. So, up in this corner is a little arrow, little thing. And then you get a new place. So I'm going to make a video. I'll write in my journal. So what is this? Today is it today Wednesday or Thursday? That's the Thursday. So I'll write there. I'll see. So now, wait a minute. I have to show you this. I have to get rid of that now. Okay, so I type on, I put my mouse where it says, oh, I've got to turn this light down again. Everything takes so long when I'm involving it with you. Okay, so you got a title place. So you touch the title place. Oops, wrong place. Okay, so you touch it where it says title, and then you touch it down here is a little microphone. So you touch your little microphone. Thursday, early in the morning. I got up around 3 a.m., period. I had been in bed since about 7:30, and had probably had enough sleep, period. So I got myself organized, went to the family room, closed the drapes, rearranged things, put a light behind my reclining chair, and sat down to make a live video, period. New paragraph. What a good idea that was, exclamation point. There were a lot of nice people that I could talk to, period. Uh-oh, now you see? Now it said you. We talked about so many things, period. We talked about Cape Breton and the Acadians who became the Cajuns, period. We talked about how I built the greenhouse, and we talked about putting a cot in the pottery studio, not a card. Oops. So you touch that keyboard thing to go backwards, and now sometimes it'll mess up and you can't see the bottom. But this is usually the word, so if you're erasing, you just can go like this. Putting a cot, not a card. Cot. No, not that kind of cot. All right, so you have to put a space, and then you can push the microphone again. And then when you're doing it, and you run out of time, it'll ding, and the microphone will turn off. Make sure you notice that, because you can talk a long time after it's not typing anymore. And when it stops, all you have to do is you tap the space bar, because you need a space after the last word, and then type your microphone again and carry on. And you need to put periods and commas and open quotations and close quotations and all that sort of stuff. And it'll get things wrong. Anyway, so this is how I do it. This is how I do my journal. And then if I've got photos to go with it, see, like, let me show you what I did yesterday. So, oh wait, this is not the most recent feed, is it? Okay, here's Tuesday. Okay, so let me show you this. So, my son in Vietnam took us on a tour of his neighborhood, and I watched the deer outside. So then, see, all the pictures I took, I can now upload, and they're part of my day. And see, all I have to do to find out is I go to pictures. If I don't know what I did that day, like here's yesterday, and that, so I could add these photos to those things that I did on that day, right? And so these are all in my journal. Now I also share them to Instagram. So I click on that and I go to Instagram because I think that I'd like my videos to exist somewhere. And I'm not very good at hashtags. So I'll say TPTEEPEE. I also call it hashtag TIPI. And then I do OK, and then it shares it. And then I can delete it because I don't need to keep it in everywhere, right? Anyway, so what I've been doing as I go exploring, like for instance, let's look at this. See, these are my exploring pictures. My sister bought this big property beside me. See, this used to be where the Great Dam was. And this was all a big meadow. Those are from the grouse. I have to go through and delete some, eh? I can never just tell which ones to delete. They're always good. They always show something else. Home on the range. Anyway, you get the idea. Oh, we're losing people at an alarming rate. Guess that was kind of boring. Are you still there, Marnie? Do you want me to read another chapter of my book? I wonder where the one is that I put at the front. It was the day Willem was going to take the dam out. It was called Willem Removes the Huge New Dam, page 110. What? It goes from page 105 to 117. I remember all these things I have problems with. All right, well, I think I have to go to the bathroom. You know what that means. You can't come. So I think I better turn it off. And we'll talk again later. It's really been fun. See you later, Marnie and everybody else. We've had good conversation, eh? Have an enjoyable day. Bye. Where's my turn it off thing? Cancel. Yeah, it's Siri typing for me. Keto went back to bed. Yeah, isn't that great? So I can do it while I'm driving because I just have to, well, I can't really do it while I'm driving. I can do it while I'm sitting in the car. But all you have to do is touch that microphone and the space button. And you can just talk along. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Who knows? Might be in 10 minutes.